Welcome to today's video. In today's video, we are continuing with our short story, The Mysterious Stranger. If you are new here, please hit that like and subscribe button. Let's get started. Three of us boys were always together, and we had been that way since we were babies. We liked each other right from the start, and our friendship grew stronger as we got older. There was Nicholas Bowman, whose dad was an important judge in town. Sepai Mayor, whose dad ran the main inn called Golden Stack, which had a nice garden and boats for rent by the river. And then there was me, Theodore Fisher. My dad was a church organist and did a bunch of other jobs in the village, so everyone respected him. We knew the hills, woods, and birds really well because we spent a lot of time exploring them, unless we were swimming, boating, fishing, playing on the ice, or sledding downhill. We had special permission to play in the castle park, and not many people got that privilege. It was because we were friends with the oldest castle servant, Felix Brandt. Sometimes at night, we'd go there to listen to him talk about old times and strange things. He showed us how to smoke and taught us about coffee. He had been in wars and was at a big battle in Vienna. After the battle, they found bags of coffee among the things the Turks left behind. The Turkish prisoners told them how to make a tasty drink from it. Felix always had coffee with him to drink and to surprise people who didn't know about it. When there was a storm, he let us stay overnight. He would tell us scary stories about ghosts, battles, and bad things that happened, making the inside feel safe and cozy while the storm raged outside. He knew these things from his own experiences. He claimed to have seen ghosts, witches, and magic users. Once, he got lost in the mountains during a big storm at midnight. He said he saw the wild huntsman riding on the wind with his big ghostly dogs chasing him through the clouds, all lit up by lightning. He also said he saw a creature called Incubus. And a few times he saw a big bat that sucks blood from people's necks while they're sleeping, using its wings to keep them drowsy until they die. He told us not to be scared of supernatural things like ghosts. He said they weren't harmful. They were just lonely and sad, looking for kindness and understanding. With time, we learned not to be afraid. We even went with him at night to the spooky room in the castle's dungeons. The ghost showed up just once, moving quietly and disappearing quickly. We didn't get too scared because he had taught us well. He mentioned the ghost sometimes woke him up by touching his face, but it didn't hurt him. It just wanted someone to notice it. The really odd part was when he said he had seen angels, real angels from heaven, and he talked to them. These angels didn't have wings. They wore clothes, talked, looked, and acted like normal people. You wouldn't realize they were angels except for the amazing things they did that humans couldn't do. They also vanished suddenly while you were talking to them, which no human could do. He said these angels were nice and happy, not sad like ghosts. After a talk like that one May night, we had breakfast with him the next morning. Then we went down, crossed the bridge, and walked up the hills to a nice spot covered in trees. We liked that place a lot. We laid down on the grass in the shade to relax, smoke, and discuss the odd things he told us about. Those things were still on our minds and making us think. But we couldn't smoke because we forgot to bring the tools we needed to light our pipes. Soon, a young person walked towards us from the trees. He sat down and started talking to us as if he already knew us. We didn't answer because we didn't know him and were shy around strangers. He was dressed nicely, looked good, and had a friendly face and voice. He was comfortable and confident, not like other boys who might be awkward or shy. We wanted to be his friends, but didn't know how to start. Then I thought about my pipe and wondered if it would be okay to offer it to him. But then I remembered we didn't have a way to light it. I felt disappointed, but he seemed happy and said, "Fire? That's easy. I can help with that." I was really surprised and couldn't talk because I hadn't said anything yet. He took my pipe, blew on it, and the tobacco lit up red, and smoke went up. We got up and were going to run away, which is what you'd normally do. We did run a little, even though he wanted us to stay. He promised he wouldn't hurt us, just wanted to be friends and have company. So, we stopped and stood there. We wanted to go back because we were curious and amazed, but we were scared to try. He kept asking in a soft, convincing way. When we saw that the pipe didn't explode and nothing bad happened, we started feeling more confident. Slowly, our curiosity grew bigger than our fear. We went back, but we did it slowly, ready to run if something went wrong. He really wanted to make us feel comfortable, and he knew how to do it well. It was hard to stay unsure and scared when he was so sincere, kind, and talked so nicely. He won us over, and soon we felt happy and relaxed, and we enjoyed talking to this new friend. Once we felt at ease, we asked him how he learned to do that strange thing. He told us he didn't learn it. It was just something he could do naturally, like other curious things. We asked him what other things he could do, and he said there were a lot, but he didn't know how many. We asked if he could show us, and we all wanted to see. He asked if we would run away again, and we promised we wouldn't. He agreed to show us with pleasure, but reminded us not to forget our promise. We told him we wouldn't forget, and he went to a puddle, got water in a cup he made from a leaf, and he blew on it and threw it out. It turned into a piece of ice shaped like the cup. We were amazed and liked it. We weren't scared anymore. We felt really happy being there and asked him to show us more things. He agreed. He said he could give us any fruit we wanted, even if it wasn't the right season. We all talked at once: orange, apple, grapes. He told us those fruits were in our pockets, and he was right. They were good, and we ate them. We wish we had more, but we didn't say it out loud. "You'll find more where those came from," he said, "and anything else you want to eat. You don't even have to say the name of what you want. As long as I'm with you, you just have to wish for it, and it will appear." And what he said was true. It was the most amazing and interesting thing. Bread, cakes, candies, nuts, whatever we wanted, it appeared. He didn't eat anything himself. He sat with us and talked, showing us one interesting thing after another. He created a small toy squirrel from clay, and it ran up a tree and sat on a branch above us, making squirrel noises. Then he made a dog that was as small as a mouse. It chased the squirrel, barking and dancing around the tree. It seemed just like a real dog. The dog scared the squirrel from tree to tree until they both vanished into the woods. He made birds from clay and let them go, and they flew away while singing. Finally, I got the courage to ask him who he was. "An angel," he said simply, and he set another clay bird free and clapped his hands, making it fly away. We felt a mix of wonder and fear when he said that, and we became scared again. But he reassured us, saying we didn't need to be afraid of an angel and that he liked us. He continued talking normally, creating a bunch of tiny men and women about the size of your finger. They got busy and cleared a small space on the grass and started building a little castle there. The women mixed mortar and carried it in buckets on their heads, while the men laid the stones, just like our workers do. About 500 of these little figures were buzzing around, working hard and even wiping sweat off their faces like real people. As we focused on watching those tiny figures build the castle, our fear and awe disappeared. We felt comfortable again. We asked if we could also make some figures. He agreed. He gave tasks to each of us. Seppai was told to create some cannons for the walls. Nicholas was to make soldiers with armor and helmets, and I was to make some cavalry with horses. He called us by our names when giving us tasks, but didn't explain how he knew them. Then Seppai asked him his own name, and he calmly said, Satan. He held out a chip and caught a little woman who was falling from the scaffold, putting her back in her place. He remarked, she was not very smart to step backward like that without paying attention. We were caught off guard by that name, and our creations fell from our hands and broke. A cannon, a soldier, and a horse. Satan laughed and asked what was wrong. I spoke up, saying, nothing, it's just that the name seems odd for an angel. He asked why. Because, well, it's his name, you know. Yes, he's my uncle. He said it calmly, but it surprised us and made us feel tense for a moment. He didn't seem to notice, though. He fixed our broken soldier figures and things with a touch, handing them back to us all fixed. He reminded us, don't you remember? He used to be an angel himself. Yes, that's true, Seppai said. I didn't think of that. Before he did something wrong, he was pure, added Nicholas. It's a good family we are from, Satan said. There isn't a better one. He's the only member who sinned. I can't explain how exciting it all felt. You know that shaky feeling when you are witnessing something incredibly strange, enchanting, and amazing? It's a mix of being afraid and thrilled at the same time. You can't help but stare. Your lips feel dry and you breathe quickly, but you wouldn't want to be anywhere else but there. I really wanted to ask a question. It was on the tip of my tongue, but I felt embarrassed to ask it. It might have been rude. Satan finished making an ox and looked up at me, smiling. It wouldn't be rude. Even if it was, I'd forgive it. Have I seen him? Countless times. From when I was a little child, 1,000 years old. I was his second favorite among the young angels in our family, using human words. Yes, from that time until the fall, 8,000 years, as you count time. 8,000. Yes, he said. He looked at Seppai and continued as if he knew what Seppai was thinking. Of course, I look like a boy because that's what I am. Time is different for us. It takes a long time for an angel to grow up. I had a question in my mind, and he turned to me and answered it. I'm 16,000 years old, based on how you count time. Then he turned to Nicholas and said, no, the fall didn't affect me or the other angels in our group. It was just the one I was named after who ate the fruit from the tree and then tricked the man and the woman with it. The rest of us don't know about sin. We can't do it. We are without faults and will stay that way forever. Two of the little walkers started fighting, using tiny bee-like voices to curse and swear at each other. They started hitting each other, and there was blood. Then they locked in a struggle for their lives. Satan reached out his hand, crushed them, threw them away, wiped the red from his hand on a handkerchief, and continued talking as if nothing had happened. We can't do wrong. We don't even understand what it is. It was a strange thing to say, considering the situation. But we hardly paid attention to that because we were shocked and upset by the senseless killing he had just done. It was indeed murder, and there was no excuse for it. The men hadn't harmed him in any way. We felt really sad about it. We cared about him, thought he was noble, beautiful, and kind. We had believed he was an angel, and his cruel action shattered that belief. He continued talking as if nothing had happened. He told us about his travels and interesting things he had seen in our solar system and other faraway solar systems. Despite the heartbreaking scene before us, where the wives of the dead men were crying and sobbing, a priest was praying, and friends were mourning, he managed to captivate us with his stories. He didn't pay attention to the weeping and praying until it annoyed him. He used a seed from our swing to crush those people as if they were bugs, and he kept talking as if nothing had happened. An angel killing a priest. An angel who didn't know how to do wrong, yet mercilessly killed many helpless people who hadn't harmed him. It was horrifying to witness such an act, especially knowing that most of these people were unprepared for death, having never had a mass or seen a church. We were there. We saw the murders, and it was our responsibility to report it and let the law handle it. Still, he continued talking and using his lovely voice to keep us interested. He made us forget everything else. We could only listen to him, feel love for him, and become his followers, ready to do whatever he wanted. He intoxicated us with the happiness of being around him, looking into his eyes and feeling of happiness from his touch. We have now reached the end of The Mysterious Stranger Part 2, and we will have a look at the vocabulary. Please note that I've chosen a few words from the story, but there are some words that you will find in the story which are not in my vocabulary list. So with those words, I encourage you to look them up in Google, or you can look them up in a dictionary. Number 1, mortar. Mortar is a strong glue used in building things like houses and walls. Number 2, engrossed. To be engrossed, it means to be really, really focused on something, like a good book. Number 3, awe. Awe is when something is so amazing or cool that it leaves you speechless. Number 4, cavalry. Cavalry are soldiers who ride horses into battle. Number 5, scaffold. Scaffold is a temporary platform used by workers when building or fixing things up high. Number 6, enchanting. Enchanting means something so charming and magical that it makes you smile. Number 7, thrilled. This means being super excited and happy about something. Number 8, embarrassed. Embarrassed means feeling really, really red-faced and awkward because of something you did. It could also mean being ashamed. Number 9, curse. Curse means saying bad words or wishing something bad would happen to someone. Number 10, noble. Noble means being really good and honorable, like a hero. 11, cruel. This means being mean and not caring about others' feelings. Number 12, solar system. The solar system is the sun and all the planets and stuff that go around it in space. Number 13, sobbing. Sobbing means crying a lot and making loud, sad sounds. Number 14, mourning. Mourning means feeling really sad and missing someone who passed away. 15, captivate. Captivate means when something is so interesting or exciting that you can't look away. Number 16, mercilessly. This means being really, really mean without showing any kindness. 17, weeping. This is crying and having tears roll down your cheeks. 18, horrifying. This is something that's so scary and terrible that it gives you nightmares. 19, wonder. feeling amazed or curious about something unusual. Number 20, reassure. This means to comfort and make someone less anxious or scared. Alright, so there we have it. That was our vocabulary list. Like I mentioned before, there are some words that are important, which are part of the story. Some of those words, I could not include them in the list because they need to be a very, very long list. So I encourage you to look up those words on Google. Another thing, I encourage you, once you read or go through these vocabulary words, try to use them in your conversations. When you speak to your friends, try to use these words. Make them part of your daily conversations. That way your English will improve. Also, your vocabulary will also improve. Thank you for watching, and please remember to subscribe and like and also share it with your friends. Part 3 of The Mysterious Stranger is coming up soon.